Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome to Sons of Liberty, 1773. This is indeed where men and women from around the world meet in defense of liberty. I am your host, Bill Bailey, who will be channeling the patriotism of America's founding fathers. I am out on a hike today. I'm going to get 6 miles in, back on our property. Close to, we have road frontage on 2 roads, and I'm really close. Actually, I can see it to where Joe Biden, keep in mind, Bill Bailey, Hentram County, November 3, 2020, and the fiasco that followed, July 4th of 2021, Joe Biden's motorcade is literally driving by my property here, out in northern Michigan in the middle of nowhere. Go figure. Hope they weren't thinking they were going to intimidate yours truly, because it just ain't going to happen. From what I'm hearing, Jack Smith, last name spelled ASS, is going to indict Trump. This is the Washington, D.C. on January 6th stuff. Just complete bullshit, by the way. We all know it. And glasses are steaming up, overheating. On Tuesday or Thursday, the grand jury meets, so could be Tuesday. So they're going to indict Trump, and what it looks like they're going to try to do is indict and imprison him. You'd like to put him in prison, but they may get away with putting him under house arrest. Okay? They want to take him off the campaign trail. Joe Biden's number one political rival, right? That's leading in all the polls. And Bannon said the reason it's not Trump they fear, it's you, it's us. And the reason is because we believe in our Judeo-Christian society, the nuclear family, morality, that there is a God, one God. There's not many, there's one. And so we go against everything they're trying to do. We are their greatest foe. So they want to destroy us. But it's definitely communism, folks. This is what communists do when they take over a country. I think we know how they did that. And they immediately go after their political rivals. And, in communist countries, what do? They charge them in a kangaroo court and they lock them up forever, or they just go out and, like Maoist China, and they kill 60 to, we don't even know the number. It could be far beyond 60 million of their own countrymen. So, that isn't ancient history, folks. What's gone on in the last 100 years with totalitarian regimes. So don't get comfy. Eternal vigilance is what's going to protect our republic from the evil trying to destroy it. So it'll be interesting. Washington, D.C. is just a sewer. It's a sewage pond full of slimy monsters. And nothing good there. It's really a porthole to hell, just like Lansing, Michigan. And Trump, there's not a prayer in the world that Trump gets anything. He's not getting fair treatment now, but he's definitely not going to get a favorable ruling in D.C., where they've already primed him up, charging American citizens, just like you or I. I mean, I was going to go to the January 6th rally, and I had a friend invite me, and Renee said, Renee was adamant, you're not going. So, happy wife, happy life. So I stayed home. But they've incarcerated law-abiding Americans, folks, on bullshit charges, kangaroo court, and they're in prison. I mean, they're, 20, 30 people in the middle of the night were SWAT teaming average Americans that simply showed up to express, to petition the government with a redress of grievances, to publicly assemble peacefully, exercising their First Amendment rights. And what was, it is on paper now. I mean, not in practice. Our constitutional republic. So if they can do that to them, and they can do it to our president, You know, they will get more and more emboldened, folks. And the 75,000 IRS agents, armed IRS agents, right? Somebody said, well, the House defunded it. Well, yeah, but they've already passed the money in the budget when we didn't have the House. And you can't take it back. I mean, that's neat that the House did that. You know, it's smoke and mirrors politics. They don't tell you, well, it's not, you know, this has no teeth unless the Senate passes it to defund it, because they've already got the funding. You know, so that's in full force. There is a systematic and orchestrated attack on Trump and MAGA. From state to state. You've seen what they did in Michigan with the 16 electors. Lifelong Republicans, very active in the party, very active in their local politics throughout Michigan, not criminals, and they're going to charge them with some bullshit felonies. They're just making stuff up. Hey, it's a communist, you know, they don't follow the law. But this next week is going to be phase 2 of what started. So look for Trump indictments, you know, watch it happen. It'll go something like this. We'll see if I'm right on this. If Georgia's the same and the grand jury meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or I don't know if their grand jury has already made their decision in Georgia, I forget. But you're going to see, you know, like Tuesday charges for Trump, Thursday charges for Trump, and then the middle days charges for other people in other parts of the country. You've seen they elevated the charges on the documents. They're going after a couple of Trump's loyal employees. More, you know, complete bullshit charges. They're going to try to get Trump on racketeering, which is no truth to it at all. But where the real racketeering's happening is Merrick Garland, Christopher Wray, Jack Smith's last name spelled ASS, the Democrat operatives, attorney generals like in Michigan and Secretary of State, they're all colluding together to take out their political rivals. And they're doing it, they're breaking the law doing it. So we are at war, folks, you know. And it's going to get ugly. It's going to get much worse. And what happens in a war? There's two sides, right? Usually good and evil, and one side wins. So I feel like, you know, pray, because if God is with us, who can be against us? And there's no foe we can't face if we have God at our side. So I would put that at the number one. What can I do, Bill? Pray. Spend time with God. Pray for revival in this country. Pray for America. Pray for the criminals. Pray for God's justice to sweep across this country. And if enough of us ask, you know, he's listening. But as it stands today, it's Sodom and Gomorrah, this country. It's evil. Wasn't it Lot, when he, trying to think, he offered his, they wanted his sons instead of his daughters because it was, you know, evil. They wanted the kids, the boys. Look what's going on with this trafficking and stuff. I mean, we're living in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. How did that work out for those two cities? If we don't take this country back, and it's going to, you know, like Bannon said today, that they spent decades destroying this country, and it's going to take us decades to fix it. But we need to turn the tide, right? We need to grab the levers of power, get a hold of the wheel and the helm, and turn the ship around and start sailing back to righteousness. And if we're not able to do that next year, okay, I truly believe, that we are deep in the book of Revelation playing out in real time, and it's all coming to a head. Hey, if you ever, a couple cars going down the road, if you ever want to watch, go back in my videos, there ain't that many, click way back and it'll say Joe Biden's motorcade or something comes by my property, and watch. It's pretty comical because there's a big, like truck on, big tires, like a miniature monster truck with Trump flags flying, and a couple of rabble rousers were following the Biden clan as they went by. So watch next week. It's going to be a shite storm again. Every time they do this, Trump's approval ratings go on. If you want to know why DeSantis got in this race, right? Because I think DeSantis, look at everybody that's in the Republican race to be presidential nominee knows it's going to be Trump. Except somebody whispered in their ear and has convinced them that Trump's not going to be on the ballot and you need to get in. Pence doesn't have a prayer. Matter of fact, I think Pence is c'est la vie. He's already cooked his goose. DeSantis is flopping big time, and it's a shame. Trump did call for DeSantis. Said, "Why don't you do what's right and step out and unite the party?" DeSantis would gain a lot of points if he did that. I think DeSantis would, up until what he pulled lately, I thought he'd be a great president in 28, not in 24. No. And when he's taking the money from the Koch brothers, and you got Paul Ryan and Jeb Bush and some of that group, pushing for anybody they're with, I'm against. But the only one that's been fighting for the American people truly has been Donald Trump, and fighting the establishment and the regime. And look what they're doing to that man, folks. No one has took more slings and arrows than Trump in my lifetime for this country. It's very possible he's going to be sitting in prison. Can you imagine that? Can you literally comprehend that? Joe Biden, who sold this country down the road when he was Senator Biden, gave our enemy $85 or $87 billion of our state-of-the-art war equipment. That is the definition of treason, aiding and abetting our enemy, right? His, selling his influence for tens and tens, probably, they found 17 million already, but he's got all kinds of offshore accounts. It'll take time, but it's probably hundreds of millions. Who knows, right? But he should literally be locked up, removed from office yesterday, impeached, and sentenced. I think he should be put in prison the rest of his life, and take his kid with him, his crackhead kid. On the other hand, Trump, who did nothing wrong, it's what the communists do, folks. Whatever they're guilty of, they look for a scapegoat. They accuse the innocent of what they're guilty of. It's truly evil. And don't forget his Moloch speech at Independence Hall, where he defiled hallowed ground and proclaimed that the mega Trump Republicans were the greatest enemy to our, they never use republic, democracy. No, actually, we're your greatest enemy. We're the left's greatest enemy. We're the communists, the Marxists, and the socialists' greatest enemy. But we're America's savior. I do believe that's about it. I'm gonna get cranking. It is a beautiful day in northern Michigan. Renee and I walked 2 miles a couple hours ago, and I'm gonna go out and put in another 4. Get out and enjoy Mother Nature, have fun, take time to smell the roses. Life is good. Anyways, I'm going to get hiking. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Check out my vintage Coke machine that Renee found on Marketplace yesterday and ran up to Walloon Lake up by Petoskey and picked that bad boy up yesterday. I like patina. Somebody says that thing needs some love. Actually, it's in pretty good shape. It just needs to be cleaned up. Once they're restored and stripped with all new paint and stuff, to me, they just lose their history. I like the scratches and scrapes and the dents and dings. Just want it to work mechanically correct, and it does work. It needs a new cord, but I plugged it in, put a dime in, everything works and cycles. It gets cold. The only bummer about that particular machine, it's a one flavor machine. Unlike my slider machine that I have out, deer flies are awful. out in front of the slider machine I have out in front of the gas station that you can put several flavors in, including Miller Lite. This, you just put the small bottles of Coca-Cola in it, but a cool machine. I know Coke is woke now, folks, but it wasn't back then. Nothing's more American than, Coca-Cola and apple pie, right? And Pepsi, I like Pepsi too, but Coke did some incredible marketing back in the day. All right, I'm leaving. God bless you all. Keep the faith, keep praying, and keep prepping. Definitely do both of those. If you get nothing from this video, keep stocking up on preps and keep praying. You always feel better after you take time to speak with the Lord, right? See you, bye.